this whole Hunter Biden laptop thing, what it's revealing is so much bigger than Hunter Biden.
Yes.
Joe Biden is running for president. He needs to answer for all this stuff. He needed to answer for stuff that was going on a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But now this week, holy crap.
And he will never be asked it. They're not going to ask him about it in the debate. Trump's going to bring it up.
He's been asked about it.
Oh.
And he straight up gets angry. I knew you were going to ask me that. I knew it. And then he storms away. Like, what? That's your response? I knew you were going to ask me about it. So you didn't have something prepared? You just got angry and walked away, Joe Biden? What kind of, what does that as a presidential? No, come on.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. Come on, fat. But that doesn't actually surprise me at all, because that's how Joe Biden has handled it every single time he's got criticism. I mean, he sent out a tweet or something, I don't even know, like last week or something, where he was like, I will be the president of all Americans. And I was like, let me take you back to a time when Joe Biden challenged a voter to a push-up contest and called him fat. Or another time when Joe Biden threatened a union auto worker for questioning him. Like, Joe Biden has no interest in being the president of all Americans. He only has interest in being president, period. He's wanted this for decades. That's what he wants. And it's not about serving the American people. It's about having the office. And that is the scariest thing of all. You should never vote for someone that obviously is more interested in power than they are actually in service.
I agree. Here, enter President Trump's plan to bring Hunter Biden's associate, Tony Bobulinski, as a guest to the debate.
It's so
I didn't even know they had to guess. How does that work? Is that like, what is that all about? Do you know how that works?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how it works in the time of COVID, but I remember like in the last cycle, Trump brought all of like a whole line of women that Bill Clinton had an affair with to one of the debates.
And wait, did they get a chance to speak or something during the debate?
No, they were just sitting there looking ominously, and they held like a press conference before it or something, and each of them got to share why they were there and supporting Trump, and it was just like an epic.
Oh my goodness!
I remember being so pissed. I was like, Trump, no, you are evil, Trump.
Wow. Yeah. So even if Tony doesn't get to speak, right? It doesn't matter. Trump is absolutely going to bring it up. They removed the whole segment of foreign affairs. It's the president. We should know what the foreign affairs policies is going to be. Joe Biden, answer for your foreign affairs ties with your Hunter and with your son, and the China dealings and the Ukraine dealings and all the connections between you two, and how we've got evidence that you two were colluding to coerce people across seas, in other countries, to do things with American tax dollars. Answer for that, Joe Biden. You should answer for that, because that is ridiculous. And also, by the way, very illegal to do that. And now they're trying to push this thing. Oh, Trump has a Chinese bank account. Okay.
Oh my God.
That's all you got? That's all you got? We found out China paid Hunter Biden $3 million just as a bribe or some crazy thing. I mean, I honestly, I'm still wrapping my head around the whole Hunter Biden thing, and that's not what the segment's about. We're just, it's crazy. Of course, Trump's going to talk about it. Of course, this guy just sitting there, looking at Biden. Biden's going to ignore him. He's going to.
Oh yeah,
man, he's going to get caught up.
Yeah, well, we'll see how Christian Welker handles it, but it's like, what's going to happen is she's going to ask him exactly the same questions that he's been asked in every other debate and every other town hall. Trump, why did you screw up COVID so badly? Do you denounce white supremacy? Do you denounce QAnon?
That whole thing.
That's what he's going to ask.
That whole question. Every time they ask him that, I cringe. Julia Song, actually, I don't know if you know who she is. She's like a reporter / political analyst. She's from Brazil, very insightful. She had this interview that I was listening to earlier today, and she talks about how President Trump, every time he even denounces it, it's almost like they're getting a little bit of a win. Just him acknowledging that he needs to denounce him, as if he had something to do with them in the first place, because he didn't. He never did have anything to do with it. So them asking him is a little win for them, because he never was a part of white supremacy. He said multiple times, any hate group at all, I condemn. anybody who brings hate at all, I don't like that. Those are his words. He said this countless times. Why do they insist on having this be front and center? Because they're just trying to grill it in, the repetition over and over and over again, and then you hear the news cycle comparing him to different terrible leaders in the past, and just bring it in there. I don't even want to say it because I don't believe it. I think it's ridiculous. The power of words is strong, especially for people that don't really do a lot of research. You know what I mean?
I do. So, and here's the question I have, and I'm going to preface this by saying that I admit that I'm probably being too generous with the media, but I really do like to assume people like positive intent. I do. I question whether or not they actually know they're lying. Have they actually repeated this lie so often that they've convinced themselves that it's the truth, or are they doing this purposefully? And again, I know I'm probably being too generous, but I think it's actually worth considering. I mean, people can convince themselves of things that are absolutely absurd and have no basis in reality all the time. It's actually pretty simple. And so I wonder how malicious a lot of this stuff is.
It's a good point. Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, it truly does feel like the people that believe this stuff, the people that are spouting all these things truly believe it. They really do feel like everyone else is evil, and the world is racist, and everyone's oppressing everyone, and everyone's oppressed also, and and they're like, this is our purpose. We are virtuous, and we're shouting our virtue to the world. As cringy as that feels and sounds, they truly believe it. They truly believe that is their main purpose in life now.
I mean, I definitely believed when I was still a Democrat and I still had Trump derangement syndrome, I absolutely believed that Trump was a racist. Absolutely, 100%. And it was because it was just repeated so much. And we kind of need to separate this from the media, though, because it is the media's specific job to look into these things and to make sure they know what they're talking about. But I mean, just as an job, their job. But it's like as just like an average person who really wasn't paying attention and who believed exactly what the media told me, I 100% believed that Trump was a racist until I didn't anymore, until I realized that he never really did mock a reporter for being disabled. He mocked the reporter, but not for being disabled, which is an important distinction to make.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. One of the things I was thinking about today was, it was in regards to like NPR saying basically, we're not even going to talk about Hunter Biden. We just don't even know what the big deal is. It's like a lot of these people, I don't know about you, but I went to Boston University's College of Communications. That's a really very good journalism school. I was actually majoring in journalism for a while. And, the reason that I was, going down that career path was that I viewed it as a noble profession. I watched movies like Good Night and Good Luck, which is still one of my favorite movies to this day. And it seemed like these were good people that are trying to do noble work, that are serving the public and all this stuff. And I wonder how many journalists today went to school for journalism and they wanted to be one of those noble reporters. And then they get to their jobs at the New York Times and find out they're nothing more than propagandists. Like, that's got to be a big, kind of mind-boggling moment when you find out that your job at the New York Times is literally to create propaganda. That's what they're doing. And I don't know, the only way I can think to handle it, if you really want that credit as like New York Times reporter, is to trick yourself essentially into thinking you're doing good work. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. And being a reporter 50 years ago was something that there's that meme that floats around, like, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to get to the story, even if the mob, tries to kill me and burn my whole life to the ground. I'm going to get to the bottom of the story. And now reporting is like, oh no, someone called me a bad name. I need a month and a half off vacation. The little big huge dog to the little dog, and that's what it's become. Not only that. The reporting, because of the whole clickbait thing, competing with newspapers competing with these. I don't know, it's not even satire, just like, who cares? This is the news, but this is what people want to read about. It's clickbait. That's all it's about. So, and then one-upping each other, one-upping themselves, all right, this one, I need to get more clicks, so I got to get more ridiculous. And then you take that into the whole thing of, do they even feel satisfied slash, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, if you are spewing out a bunch of just nothing over and over, you're not satisfied with your job. You don't feel like your purpose is fulfilled. But if you convince yourself that it's for, you know, all this stuff is real and everything you say, you know, you're actually saving people and the world is evil and all this stuff that you're, you know, and then they only talk to each other too. You know, the left just stays on the left. The right looks at pretty much everything, or at least the center, which I mean, I'm not on the right. I'm not on the left. I try to stay center, but these people are just one-upping each other and convincing themselves. They're in the little echo bubble. They talk to each other like, oh, yeah, I heard that too. And did you hear this too? And they heard it from each other, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then they convince themselves that it's also true, which then makes them feel better. Like, yes, I'm doing this for a solid reason, and now I feel good about my life because I was feeling terrible about my life before. That's right. I mean,
it's the most ridiculous game of telephone that's ever been played, because by the time it comes out of their mouth or is like they're reporting something, it has no basis in reality at all. And it's just they've been whipping each other up into this frenzy, and like nonsense comes out, and the rest of us that are actually based in reality are like, what are you talking about? This isn't real.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have a friend who sends me news stories all the time. He's so upset that I'm voting for Trump, and he sends me all these things, and you know, I peruse them. I don't read everything because it's getting a little out of hand, and I can't just spend my day reading the things and then, you know, looking up stuff to like prove that it's not true. Half the time it just says allegedly. As soon as I see the word allegedly or sources close to this story say, or experts say, I'm just like, I'm over it. I need the real stuff. What's the actual truth? And then you know, the other half is stuff that I already know it was taken out of context. You know, they cut the one sentence out. It's like the Charlottesville thing. You know, everyone's like, oh, he said there's good people on both sides. And it's like, did you listen to his speech? Very first thing he said was, the neo-Nazis should be condemned, period. Outright, no doubt. And then I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people that just showed up because they don't think people should be ripping down statues. It's like, that is so different than what everyone has been saying. Joe Biden on the debate last time said that. So he himself is pushing this false narrative that is convinced everyone that Trump's racist, which is very not true. If you know him at all, if you actually pay attention to the things that he does, it would prove to you, because the facts are worth way more than your feelings.